there, Eagles and football fans, and welcome back to our Eagles Therapy Podcast. My name is Basil.
And I'm Baz.
And we are recording Sunday, January 28th, 2024, championship weekend where the AFC and NFC championships took place today. Truly one of the saddest days in NFL history, I would say. Two really bad games. I know people would say the second game was great, but I'm not a big fan of comebacks because it involves a blowout and then another blowout by the other team. But first game was boring. Second game, same sort of thing. And then the two, evil empires won today, unfortunately. Just a really sad day. Just really sad, Dad.
Well, Baltimore, they just looked terrible. Maybe I don't even know what to say about that game. Kansas City's defense is for real, but they just did not execute at all. It was, I don't feel bad for anybody. It's just bad games. I expected a little bit more out of Baltimore, but, fumbling into the end zone, that's one thing. And once you start chasing that dragon, you're done. You're finished. So it was bad.
Well, we're going to be,
it's the way it is. We're looking at the Super Bowl coming up in a few weeks, but that first game, Mahomes again, going to screen passes that go for 30 yards.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be breaking down both games, but starting off, as always, we want to give a shout-out to our Eagles fan club of Colorado Springs. We'd like you to know that that's the fan club that we are in here as Eagles fans in Colorado Springs, and we'd love for you to join us if you're a fan. We watch the game at Frankie's on Powers and Galley here in Colorado Springs every time the Birds play, and I wonder if we'll have a Super Bowl gathering. I'm not too sure what's going on. We're going to be having a draft, but we'll tell you more about that in the coming weeks when things happen. But let's go ahead and start off with the first game of the day. Kansas City Chiefs predictably defeated the Baltimore Ravens 17-10. Thoughts on the game just overall, Dad? Go ahead.
I had picked Baltimore to win. I thought there'd be a little more scoring in the game. They have 7 points until
the end of the game.
They kicked a field goal, but it was bad. They just couldn't move the ball. I mean, I don't know if it was their offense was so bad or Kansas City's defense is that good. Some will say Kansas City defense is that great, but all season they weren't that good. So I don't know what happened. It's give and take.
The Kansas City defense was good most of the year. They were pretty darn good.
They're good. They definitely good. We'll see how good they are in a couple of weeks because, in my opinion, San Francisco is not that good at all, but they ended up winning that game tonight. So, I don't know. Mahomes, of course, you never bet against him because he wins every time he plays, and it's just amazing. I can't believe the Eagles beat them this year in a game that, they wanted to win. It wasn't like it was a bye week or something. I still can't believe that we beat them because, every time they get on the field in a game that I'm cheering against them, they win every time.
Yeah, it's funny. Same thing as last week with the Chiefs and like Mahomes, like you said, when they're playing against Buffalo, I was like, I want Buffalo to win, but it's just not in the script. I don't want to say it's scripted.
You knew it.
It's just not in the script. And same with this week. I said the same thing about this one. Yeah, Baltimore should win. They're the better team. They're well-rounded. Chiefs have a good defense. Ravens have a great defense. Both are great, but it just didn't seem like it was going to happen. But man, it was almost too predictable. We knew the Chiefs were going to win, and it just happened. It's funny. It just happened in such an easy way. Let me get into some.
They did for sure.
Let me get into specific details that I have on it. Thoughts on Baltimore first. I got a few of them. Lamar Jackson was horrible. And I am done with that. I'm done with that belief of he's top 5, he's top 10. I was on that, and now I'm not like a huge fan of him or anything like that, but I thought he was a really good player, and I'm just kind of at the point now where I'm like, dude, it is. People are gonna get mad at me. It's Vic over again. He's great in the regular season. Can be an MVP. Can run the ball like crazy. Can heave the ball 90 yards with ease. He's incredible. But once you get into the playoffs. That's what happens. That's what used to happen to Vic all the time.
Yeah.
When he was on the Falcons, not on the Eagles. I'm talking about when he was on the Falcons.
Yeah.
And the Birds. But he just whenever he just didn't have that. It's just not there. It's not there.
They're situational football. And he threw into triple coverage in a drive that they needed to score a touchdown. And they were at the 20-some yard line. And he threw into triple coverage. It was intercepted. And you just kind of look at that and what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why were you throwing that ball into triple coverage? And it was easily intercepted. The game was over at that point.
Yeah.
You could just see it. But, Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. You know,
And
there's a cerebral factor to the game that, you know, and you could see certain players, they know what to do and not to. Don't take a sack in that situation. Don't throw the ball up in the air for grabs. And he just, for whatever reason, he just does not have that little piece.
Yeah. Let me also just say, yeah, so last year, or not last year, a few weeks ago, months ago, maybe even last week or 2 weeks ago, when Lamar won a playoff game and we were eliminated and stuff like that, someone like posted a picture on Twitter that had from last year, I think Lamar was voted 72nd overall in the league, like top 100 players, and Hurts was number 3, and everyone was kind of like, oh, you know, but he tweeted that and was like, I can't believe they compared this. And I was kind of like, oh, yeah, this season, you know, changes things, and Lamar does look better. But now, my quarterback went to a Super Bowl and played amazing in it.
Yeah.
And this guy, I just don't see it. So
It's not in the future. Not
I
in the
agree.
cards.
I agree with that photo more now. It's correct. It should be that way. Let me say about Baltimore, for a team coached by Harbaugh, the discipline and football IQ of that team is just none. It was insane. I can't believe in 2024 players are still reaching for the end zone. I can't believe it still happens.
Yeah.
It's insane. If you get tackled, it's first down at the 1.
Right.
It's okay.
Right.
It's incredible that still happens. The IQ is terrible. The discipline of that defense, you know, they're a great defense. They were stopping the run. They were getting them off the field. They had 4 punts in the second half at one point. You know, they were, you know, Baltimore was really getting at it, but they're getting in fights. How are players still getting in fights? In 2024, how are people still fighting?
Yeah.
You know, and I know it's stupid, but the second person always gets caught.
Right.
We know that. We know that. And it sucks. It's dumb. Kelsey probably should have been penalized.
Right.
But guess what? He didn't.
Right.
You did.
Right.
And you know that not you. It blows my mind.
That was a third down, I believe, in that situation.
It might have been.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
I can't believe guys are still getting in fights.
Well, how about
and then the taunting?
Yeah, exactly.
Zay Flowers, big play. Well, 2 plays before he fumbled.
Huge play.
Huge
needed
play.
that play down to the 10-yard line.
And he pushes him and throws the ball. You're like,
you're losing.
I can't believe this.
You need a touchdown.
First of all, you're losing.
Yes.
Second of all, the football IQ and the discipline of that team was so horrendous. I'm amazed by Harbaugh. Like, I understand why Harbaugh only has 1, because good Lord, it was terrible.
Right.
These guys, they must not listen to the coach at all, because I can't believe it.
Right.
The discipline was horrible.
I agree.
I can't believe that was happening.
But I'm at a 15-yard penalty. Now you're at the 25.
Yeah.
And they did eventually score.
No,
they fumbled out of the end zone. Right. So, I mean, they did drive down to but you were at the 10. And 2 plays later, you had a touchdown.
Yeah.
And
which is funny, because that play,
it's crazy.
That play is going to be on one of those, on YouTube. There's like NFL humble moments or humbled moments, stuff like that.
Game-losing moments.
Or stuff like that. But there's going to be a humbled one. And it's going to have that where Zay Flowers gets the taunting, and then 2 plays later he fumbles. It's going to be on there in the next year or so, probably next few weeks. Some thoughts on Kansas City. Mahomes, as always, just you can't bet him back. You can't bet against him.
Pacheco can't keep his helmet on.
Can I? Yeah, I do have to say that. Earlier this season, we saw it several times. His helmet's off every game. What are we doing?
Strap your helmet on.
You got to find this guy or something.
Get some Velcro.
Like, I know. I'm like, they need to. Can you check the straps? Does he have a chin that doesn't fit to it? I don't know. I'm sorry. But, like, it's just confusing to me. It comes off all the time.
Yeah.
And it came off today once or twice.
Yeah.
I saw once for sure.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if it happened again.
No, but you said something right away.
It just
so
blows
I had to
my
mind. The one game we watched, he lost it 3 times in a row.
3 times in a 5-game span. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's unbelievable. Mahomes, as always, was great. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, thank God he didn't catch that ball against us.
Yeah.
He would have had a touchdown against us, but man.
How do you,
I'm happy.
How do you let a guy get open on that play?
It's incredible.
You know, it's 3rd and 4, 3rd and 6. You got to stop him to get the ball back, and he's not wide open, but
I just don't get it.
It's just a flipped up ball. I mean,
I don't get it.
At home.
My next question is Travis Kelce. Does anyone want to cover this guy?
Yeah.
Guys, if you've watched the whole season,
right,
you've heard me use the term, that's the guy.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about Travis Kelce, number one. There's a lot of players like that, but Travis Kelce, that's the guy. That's the guy.
Right.
There's only one of them, not 7, not like the Niners where there's 5.
Right.
No, There's one of them.
Right.
And I know there's other players who can make good plays every
Yeah.
once in a while. It happens. I get that.
Yes.
But that's the guy.
Yeah.
Travis.
When he's wide open on 3rd and 8, you kind of go, what are you guys doing?
It was 3rd and 8. That's the guy.
3 times, 5 times.
I know it's not one guy covering the same guy the whole time. There's always going to be
But he should never get lost.
It just doesn't. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There should never, I know a lot of coaches, they'll disguise a guy in the slot or they'll hide him here. Like there's a way to hide a guy in a formation, but that's the guy.
Right.
You can't, he had 11 targets. He had 11 catches.
Yeah.
Is it that? I don't want to, I know it's hard for me to sit here on my chair and I'm watching a game and I'm going, oh, we can't cover, but come on.
Yeah.
It's that hard. That's the guy.
Right.
It's not like he runs a 4-2 like Tyreek Hill.
Right.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely looks better than he did about 2 months ago when he looked really old, and now he looks great again.
I know, it's funny.
It's amazing.
So that's my only thoughts on that game. You have anything else to say about those games?
Not really, no.
The football IQ today was just terrible. So much dumb football being played. Dan Campbell, which we'll get more into, but the Baltimore game, I'm just like, the IQ is gone. Like,
right.
It's just it feels like football has gotten, like, players have gotten dumber. They've also gotten worse at tackling, which we'll talk more about that too.
Gracious.
But my God, like, it feels like players have gotten not dumber, like actual dumb, but like just football IQ wise, football intelligence. Right. What are you doing? Like, why are you getting in a fight?
Field presence.
Why are you reaching the ball across the goal
down and distance? Know the situation.
It's crazy.
It is. You know what? You want to celebrate? Go on the sidelines and stand on something and jump up and down. The fans can cheer
won't
for
get
you.
penalized.
But don't throw the ball at somebody on the ground and kick them and then stare at them. I mean,
spit on them.
It's just
it blows my mind.
You might as well, because there was there were several other ones in other games that weren't called. So I know you kind of go, well, I guess they're not going to call that taunting, but.
It just
you
blows
just
my
got to
mind.
know where you're at. You're down. If you're winning by 30 points, you could do what you want. But goodness gracious, you're down by 10 and you couldn't do anything all day long. It was awful.
All right, you want to jump into the other game?
Sure.
I know you don't want to, but
that's okay.
The Niners defeated the Detroit Lions 34-31. The Cinderella season comes to an end, unfortunately. Let's just say some first thoughts about Detroit. Running game looked great really all the way through the game. Until the fourth quarter, they really were able to run the entire game. Dan Campbell, it's just funny. In the first half, I thought he coached an almost perfect game.
Could do no wrong.
Now I had some problems at the end of the first half.
Right.
I didn't.
You
love
wanted
those
the touchdown.
choices.
I know.
I didn't love those choices. I know you got to kick the field goal, but before that, they shouldn't have been in that situation. But that's the end of the first half. It's just funny because then he turned around and then he coached one of the worst second halves I've ever seen in my life. I can, and I know we disagree on this, so let's jump into this one.
Yeah.
The first time they went for it on fourth down.
Right.
I believe it was 4th and 2.
They're at the 32-yard line.
32-yard line on the Niners one. The Niners 30.
Right. They're up 24-10.
Correct.
Niners had come out from the halftime and
yes.
drove all the way down the field and kicked a field goal.
Yes. So,
yes.
You believe they should have kicked the field goal?
Well, in my humble opinion, that was the entire game. They don't kick the field goal. They give the ball to the Niners. The Niners go down the field, score a touchdown. They fumble the ball. Niners score a touchdown. You kick that field goal, it's 27-10. It's a different game. You're kicking off. Yeah. They're at the 25 maybe to start another drive. You can do things differently, but you gave them momentum. You just took it right out of your wallet.
Yeah.
And you put it right to them. And that was the first field goal they should have kicked.
Yes.
But they definitely should have kicked that, because that would not only have been, because we know now they scored a touchdown with 50 seconds left, but they were shut out until that point in the whole second half. They kicked that field goal mid to third quarter. They go up 27-10. They matched the field goal with the field goal. It wasn't a bad thing. If the Niners had come out of the half and scored a touchdown, I'd have been a little more on your agreement. But the minute they did not kick that field goal, the game was over. I wish I jumped on and bet some money, because that game was over.
True, right?
It was over.
So here's my thought on it. I thought going for it, the one in the third quarter, not the fourth quarter. We'll talk about that one in a second. The one in the third quarter, I wasn't against going for it. Now, my number one issue with it was
the play call.
Yes, yeah. My number one issue with it is I'm not saying you should have ran it, because it's 4th and 2. You definitely throw it there. But they threw it to Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds has had a pretty good season. But in the playoffs, your best players make the best plays. There's 2 other guys, I would say 3 guys really you give that ball to. Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was an all-pro, I think second team all-pro receiver, I believe.
Yes.
And then you have Sam Laporta, who was a Pro Bowl tight end.
Amazing in the game, too.
Yeah, he was amazing. And then you have Jahmyr Gibbs, who had a great night all night long, even catching the ball. So you could have been a throw to him even. I thought throwing it to Josh Reynolds was just a bad idea. I thought it was horrible. Now, here's my defense of the saying that I'm okay with them going for it. I cannot place blame on that play because the Niners didn't have the two luckiest plays in NFL history. That's the hard part.
True.
So, it'd be different if he threw it and he's wide open and it's a touchdown. Then I'd be like, oh, that's a momentum change. Or he gave them the momentum. But I can't say, oh, he gave them the momentum when he throws a 51-yard bomb, a guy lets it hit his helmet, and then God goes, here, Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
Here's the ball.
Yeah.
I can't. And then 2 plays later, they score a touchdown the next play, and then the next play, they fumble.
Right.
And it's, it's, of course.
14-point swing in about. And it was,
20,
like I said,
seconds.
the Ayuk catch off the helmet of the Detroit player, which they threw a flag on, and then they never explained what happened. But
didn't like that.
There was no pass interference whatsoever.
Like
and
that.
If there was any pass interference, it would have been
probably
the offensive player pushing the defensive player who had an easy pick and then got twisted around and couldn't that was just
pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was really, once they got that one, I mean,
oh yeah,
the heavens opened up and the hand of God came down on the field.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
All right. Next thing I want to say, the one that in the fourth quarter. Oh, and here's
which one's that?
In the fourth quarter when they kicked it, they didn't kick the field goal. They to tie it.
They're at the 30-yard line. That's a 47-yard field goal.
Instead of kicking the field goal to tie it, they went for it and sealed the game. It was there was no coming back.
It tied the game. Anything could have happened after that point.
Yeah.
They missed it. They didn't miss it, but they didn't get the first down. You just gave them more momentum. You gave them an extension on their credit card. You gave them you upped their
raised
limit.
their limit.
Yeah, raised their limit.
Yeah.
Even you just went for that one. Like, what are you doing? You got to kick. It would tie the score. It'd be 27-27.
Yeah, that one you have to.
I mean, and then who knows what happens after that? You put a little pressure back on them. Because they did not play good in pressure early on. They were getting destroyed. If it wasn't for those couple, and the fumble's not a lucky bounce, but
yeah, that's the defender.
But that was first down.
Well, the defender did hit the ball out of his hand, so I can't say that's lucky. But
no,
but the first one, the Brandon Ayuk catch, it's probably the luckiest play.
The hand of God.
It might be the luckiest play in NFL history.
It's going to be in the Immaculate Conception top 5, if you will.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I would agree with you. The Dan Campbell. In the fourth quarter, you have to kick the field goal. You got to tie.
I think there was 7 minutes left, 7.5 minutes left.
I mean, there was a lot.
You tie it up. It's 27-27. It's a whole new game.
Yeah, and start over. It's wipe the slate clean.
I just don't understand what you're doing.
So that's the next thing I wanted to say. Both Baltimore and Detroit, horrible, horrible coaching at the end of the game, and by that I mean, at one point, Baltimore was going down to score. I wish I had the time in my head. I didn't write it down, but it was the end of the fourth quarter. Same with Detroit. Towards the end of the fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah, okay.
With a minute 37 seconds.
Right.
With Detroit, I remember the
timeouts.
And timeouts. A minute 37 seconds and 3 timeouts. And they're going for the touchdown. I'm like, you're down by 10. You kick the field goal once you're in range, and you have a minute 37.
Right.
You kick the field goal. Then you have 3 timeouts.
That's your chance.
Well, then they go down and they keep on running time. They keep on running time. And then they run the ball at the 1-yard line.
Right.
And they have to use a timeout. And you're like, this is just such bad coaching. I'm blown away. I'm blown away by the terrible coaching.
It's funny.
And Baltimore did it earlier in the day.
We've all seen that where they're down 10 and you kick the field goal, like you say, once you get in comfortable range of your kicker.
Once you're in 40, you go. You need as much time as possible.
And with 3 timeouts, especially if you're on the north side of the 2-minute warning, with your 3 timeouts, you've got time to stop them. I mean, you have to stop them, but neither team did, which was awful. But like you say, if there's a minute and a half, minute 52, 2 minutes and 10 seconds, you got to kick that field goal.
Yeah, and there was a minute 37 for Detroit. Okay. With Baltimore, I don't remember the exact timing of it.
But it was close.
But it was close enough to that point, and it's just crazy. They're going and they're going, and then they end up kicking a field goal, and you're like, if you had done it 5 plays ago, there'd be another minute.
Right.
I can't believe it. It's incredible, and that's what I mean by today when I said
coaching.
When I said horrible coaching and just dumb football, I'm like,
but like you say,
I'm confused. I don't understand.
In that situation, when you kick the ball, say you do kick the field goal, now you're down 7, you kick off, and you don't do an onside kick, you just do a deep kick. The other team, 95% of the time, even higher, is going to run, so you use your timeouts, and they're going to punt it to you with 50 seconds
and
left.
Sometimes they'll try to go for it, and that's when you have to lock
Kansas
up.
City did.
Yes,
they got it on the pass delay, but
you have to be better on defense than that.
And if
that
they
terrible.
didn't, I forget how much time was left, but there was still time
enough
left.
time, yeah.
50 seconds maybe?
Probably.
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, I know. I didn't.
But yeah, it's still enough to where you could, we've all seen the 13-second game a couple of years ago.
Of course.
So if you're, and that was a touchdown, they had to they went for a field goal. But still, I mean, anything can happen. You could get a pass interference call just to play it that way. And they just went for the touchdown as if they were just conceding the game.
Yeah.
But it was tough night, tough game.
Just horrible coaching by Baltimore and Detroit, and it's just it was really mind blowing. I was blown away.
Right.
I can't believe they did those things. Like, they're going for the touchdown.
Right.
You're down by 10. You need as much time as possible later, so you kick the field goal now.
Well,
I know
when Detroit didn't go for the field goal, there was still lots of time left.
There was a minute 37 and 3 timeouts. That's huge.
Was that when the second field goal?
No, I'm talking about the end of the game.
I'm talking about the 7 and 30 minutes.
Yeah, there was enough.
That was just to tie the game up and put some pressure on the other team.
Yeah.
Even though they had the momentum and you hadn't, at least you would have had those 3 points, and it's a tie game now. You're still not down 3 points. I know it was 4th and 2.
Let me just point out this. I know we disagreed on the end of the first half, but if they had scored a touchdown in the first, at the end of the first half, if they had scored a touchdown,
right,
they would have.
And at that point, they were rolling. So I mean, I know we had an argument about it at halftime, but yes, they should have, and that one throw, they threw it deep into the corner of the end zone. Instead of doing a quick 3-yard, 5-yard quick pass, try and get the guy to run it in, it didn't make any sense to me. But they still had the timeouts. Like you said, they should have ran on first down. They threw it into the corner of the end zone. So I know they were trying to bleed the clock and still get points because the Niners were getting the kickoff in the second half. But a touchdown, we looked at each other and you said, and a touchdown pretty much seals the game.
It starts to put it away.
I mean,
it'd be 28-7.
28-7 is way different than 24-7.
Yeah.
And if they come out of the half and kick the field goal, now it's 28-10. You go down, kick your field goal 31-10, and end the third quarter.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
I mean, I understand aggressive coaching. That's how we won with Doug Peterson. That's how we won a Super Bowl. Dougie went for 4th downs all the time. We had to do it in the Super Bowl on the drive.
Yeah.
We had to do it.
I think the problem for me with Dan Campbell, at least this season, and I think he's a good coach.
He's a great coach.
I'm not saying anything new changes there, dude. They went above and beyond what they thought. They got to the NFC Championship game, so you want to say it's a bummer because you'd be like, oh yeah, well you're happy. Well, no, you're not. That sucked. You know what I mean?
Well, when you're up 24-7 in any game,
I
don't care if it's volleyball or twinkles or whatever. When you're up,
God, you say things.
When you are up 24-7, you could almost bleed the clock and win the game.
Yeah.
You just got to keep the other team from scoring quick, which ended up happening. But
yeah. I forgot. Oh, yeah, what I was going to say. It's funny. It's almost like Dan Campbell. He called the best play of the game. It was 3rd and 18.
Beautiful.
He threw that ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown. It was a great throw. I wouldn't even say great catch because it was just right here. It was a perfect throw. Perfect play design. Perfect play call. He got the first down. And, after that, it was the best play call of the game for him. And then after that, he was just terrible.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Well, they did get the first down on the 9 or the 8 in that quick pass, which was nice. But that's how they should have scored a touchdown, on a quick tight end run out or running back out of the backfield type thing.
The easiest play in NFL history. It always happens. It works every time, and I never understand why people don't run it. The tight end who comes across, and he's wide open every time. Every time.
Yep.
It blows my mind.
Flare or whatever they call it, down and out. But, yeah, it was tough. And, I mean, season's over for but 2 teams now. So, we're on to the next game here in a couple weeks, and we'll see what happens. But
so next thing I have to say about the Niners, this is my next thing on that game. Not to take away from greatness. I've said it all year. They're one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
They're one of the 2 best teams in the league now, officially.
For sure.
So not to take away from greatness, I think they have players that are great on every side and all pros and Pro Bowls, and they're amazing. They're really amazing. They are the luckiest team in possibly NFL history.
Well, they were tonight, that's for sure.
That just last week with the Packers, And I know they went down. It was great, but
but the drop picks,
3 interceptions dropped.
Yeah.
Today there was probably 1 or 2. I know there was one for sure. The
helmet,
touchdown. The helmet, which then led into the luckiest play in history.
Right. Great catch.
Yeah, I mean, great focus.
Yeah,
Ayuk. I think I think Ayuk's a better receiver than Debo. I mean, I think Debo's a better football
he has
player.
Definitely became. He's a great receiver.
I think Debo's a great football player. Is really that. I can't even say he's a great receiver because he's just good at everything.
Debo can't be tackled.
But Ayuk to me is just he's a great receiver. But how lucky, man, how lucky.
Not just that, Kittle was like shut out in the first half as well.
Yeah.
Which, just made everything. And, you got to feel bad for the Detroit fans.
Oh, absolutely. It's
my goodness, they were getting it. They were tasting it, man. They could feel it coming, that halftime. And they could feel it coming. But, that's why they play 4 quarters. That's why you got to keep playing.
That's why you got to score points.
And it's funny because they really did not get into a shell mode, where it was mentioned during the game, like, oh, now they're going to be afraid to move the ball, do anything risky. They continued to move the ball, but it just wasn't in the cards for them, unfortunately. But
that's
the way it goes.
And oh man, let's say that Detroit, and really just not just Detroit. It's mostly the Eagles, but a lot of teams this year. Did they stop teaching kids how to tackle?
My goodness,
my God, these guys are terrible. Well, no one can tackle, and I know Debo's a special case.
He is.
He gets away, but even that one point, Purdy, didn't tackle him. He rolls out, and you're like, it's so lucky. But why doesn't anyone know how to tackle anymore? Like, I swear, it's tackling is a lost art form now.
Yeah.
I swear.
The worst is when it's that quick out pass, and the DB or safety, whoever it is, has got a beeline on the guy before he even catches the ball, and they don't tackle him.
Yeah.
They try and hit him high, and then they get stiff-armed, or they slip off the guy. Your job is just to contain him. Keep him right there. Let somebody else come help you. Unbelievable. There's probably
it's horrible.
I mean, we had our fair share of, on the Eagles this year.
Oh, the Eagles were the worst tackling team in the league this year.
But, and Detroit came out of that game making some great tackles early, but then they just slipping and sliding. I mean, the Niners couldn't tackle Gibbs either. I mean, they were slipping and sliding.
There was a lot of it. Yeah.
There was some great running early on. They just they were pulling Ragnow, and goodness gracious.
Yeah.
They ran all over them in the first quarter.
It just feels like there's just so much sloppy play in the NFL now. I don't know what it is. Yeah. And Tom Brady, I think, talked about it in an interview.
He did. Wow. And he got some stuff for that, too.
And he was like, oh, yeah, it's just not as good. And it's so true.
They gave him a hard time.
It's no one. And it's like Mahomes. Tackle him. Like,
right.
Don't you? I mean, I know he's great. I get it.
Yeah.
Purdy today. I get it. He's good. He's elusive.
Yeah.
Dude, you're a defensive player in the NFL.
Yeah, they left the entire middle of the field open for Purdy too, which is crazy. He get 4 carries for 51 yards.
It just blows my mind. They don't know how to tackle. Maybe it's gloves. They need to stop wearing gloves.
Grab his shirt.
They can't grab with the gloves.
I guess.
Maybe they got to just do hands.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree though, but you just like stop him. Even there was a couple sweeps early too, where Debo was coming around the I would say the R side or left side.
And there's 3
there's 2 guys there. We'll just contain him.
Yeah.
And then he gets around. I'm like, how did he get outside of you?
Yeah.
You just run upfield and make sure he gets go back inside.
Yeah.
Get him away from the sidelines.
Yep.
It was just unbelievable.
Funny stuff.
Too much.
What a horrible day.
It was rough.
I mean, I know for 2 fan bases it's a great day, but it's funny how just a horrible day.
Well, Kansas City, of course, and the Niners, of course, their fans must be going crazy, but there's got to be a little thing in the back of their mind going, my goodness gracious.
It's just bad
football. We just got away with something there, man.
It's bad football.
And, Detroit, you guys just blew it, You got to kick the field goals when you got a chance.
Yeah. So Super Bowl 58 coming up in 2 weeks. Going to be February 11th in Vegas. Are we going?
Yes.
No. We're going to cover it.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, I wouldn't go.
Terrible Super Bowl. It's a bummer. It's what America was dreading. It's kind of funny. This was like the memes we saw all week was how this was the worst case scenario. Up there it is. It's listed now.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario.
What's the point spread?
They got the Chiefs as the home team. They got the Niners favored by 1.5.
Niners, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd bet on the Chiefs just because, not even because I think they're better or they're going to win, but I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes.
No way. I agree.
It's impossible.
Well, especially with really showing what happened tonight. Oh. Detroit and the Niners at home, and they gave up 24 points in the first quarter, and they got first half, and they got ran all over.
Yeah, that's true.
They got ran all over. I mean, is that going to stop Pacheco, or you're going to stop Mahomes now? Please. I mean, Goff doesn't move at all. He had a few. He doesn't move at all. He does not run at all.
It's funny. I talked about it a lot last week.
And, he could have taken off a few times too as well, but he didn't. But, and they contained Jackson today, Kansas City's defense, who was just amazing. They're everywhere. So.
Yeah, I talked about it a lot last week. I'm a fan of Goff. I think he's a really good player. But I'll say this, and I'll admit this: dude has no clutch in his body.
Right.
He has just no. There's no clutch. It's like the moment it's it's over. Yeah, it's down. There's just no amazing this. He just doesn't have it, and it might be he's lead-footed. He's not
it's a shame
runner, but
he did hit Reynolds twice.
Yeah,
on third downs. That
fourth downs
was right there in his hands.
And he dropped them both. Yeah,
so I mean, I hate to get on Goff, but
let me go ahead and say,
go ahead.
Your best players make the best plays in the best moments.
Yeah,
biggest players.
It's nice to have 10 guys, but the 3 that you need to lean on when it's time.
On a 4th down and 2, the Niners wouldn't throw it to Jawan Jennings or what's his name? Is that his name? I don't know.
Jennings is his last name.
Jennings.
He had a catch.
I should have just said him. Sorry.
Didn't he have that really good catch that flipped up in the air by Purdy when he was running guys all over the place? Yeah.
But, they wouldn't throw it to Jawan Jennings or Ray McLeod on 4th down.
Right.
No. It goes to Debo. Or it goes to Christian McCaffrey or George Kittle.
Yeah.
It doesn't, you know what I mean? On 4th down, the ball wouldn't. Well, I would like to say you don't throw it to Quez Watkins, but the Eagles would.
We have.
Yeah. Then they would just target AJ. And
even what's his name, Jackson, when he's throwing it into triple coverage, that wasn't a big time.
It was likely.
Name.
It was likely.
Was it likely?
Yeah, he was good. He's great.
I thought it was somebody. I thought it was like their backup tight end or something.
I mean, he technically is their backup tight end, but it's more so of a 2 starting tight end set for them. Yeah, it's just funny. I can't believe they like. I know Reynolds had a good season. Like I said, I think he had a really good season and nothing against him, but he dropped 2 4th down, third down, 4th downs.
That one was huge.
Yeah, it's true. Yep.
Huge play.
You got anything else to say about football?
No.
Well, let me go ahead and jump into some other news about football then. Sorry. Football related, just not football itself. Obviously, last week we talked about how we were hiring Vic Fangio. Officially, he was hired the other day, so that's now official. And then Kellen Moore is now expected to be hired as the offensive coordinator. Making me look just so smart. I love it because that's all I said last week was
we did talk
I wanted
about
Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
It's funny because there was a lot of Dallas fans talking smack on Twitter like, good luck.
You can have him.
He sucks. Good
He's
luck.
Yours.
And it's funny because I remember when he was on them, it was like, this guy's the most innovative genius.
Yeah.
Just the next big name and all that sort of stuff. It's just hilarious to me how quick it changes.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because with Moore, they said that he does not like to run the ball, and of course, all our offensive lineman guys were always saying run the ball, and we were saying run the ball all season and we got away from it. So apparently Moore is not. But I read some chat rooms too, and I saw some people who I'm kind of an Eric Bieniemy guy, and they were saying no, we don't want him. And so I mean I guess it's good the fact that Kellen Moore is 35, former quarterback, blah blah blah. He had 3 or 4 years where he was like top 5 offense, something like that, scoring. And you were going through some stats last time. But
I know that the Cowboys, when he was their offensive coordinator, the Cowboys had the 6th most rushing attempts and the 7th most rushing yards in the 4-year span of him as an offensive coordinator.
So where's that from?
So I don't know how big of a deal it is. Like I know a lot of people were saying, "Oh, the run the crowd fan isn't going to be very happy." Like, and I get it. He is more focused on a passing offense, but they had the 6th most rushing attempts in his 4 years in the NFL.
Yes.
6th. There's 32 teams. That's very high.
So it's top 4th. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird. Yeah, I'm excited for it. That's what I kind of wanted. So that was something I was looking forward to. Who we were going to get, him or Eric Bieniemy, was what I wanted, and I'm kind of happy that we got him too. So that's pretty good. But you got anything else?
No, not really.
What a horrible Super Bowl we're going. My God.
Well, yeah.
What a bummer, man.
I don't know who to pick because then I'll jinx whoever I pick because all my picks have fallen apart.
You're
recently.
Right. Maybe you need to keep saying go Niners.
I don't know. I guess. Yeah, that's maybe it. But
well, other than that, we'll go ahead and say our goodbyes. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. If you like our Eagles Therapy podcast, do us a favor, rate, subscribe wherever you're listening or wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe down below. Comment any comments you'd like to say. You'd like to troll us because you're a Niners fan or any other team, please do.
Because we picked on your team again.
Or the Chiefs or anything like that. And if you're an Eagles fan, go ahead and drop down below and defend us and help us out. We need some help here.
Yeah, I know. I hear
All
you.
right, but until next time,
Give us a prediction, too, on the Super Bowl if you got one.
Well, okay.
I know it's early,
We'll
but
be doing prediction episodes next week.
That's
so
okay.
All right.
We can hear it.
All right. Well, then, from all of us here at Our Eagles Therapy Podcast, I'm Basil.
And I'm Baz.
Go Birds.
Fly, Eagles, fly.